VOA Africa.
Hello, I'm Esther Githui-Ewart. It's Wednesday, December 30th. This is Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, Voice of America is taking every necessary precaution to safeguard its employees. So our broadcast will look a little different today and in the near future as we, out of an abundance of caution, reduce our staffing at VOA headquarters here in Washington. We're working to help keep you informed about what's going on, and we appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. As the vote counting continues in the Central African Republic, the Electoral Commission says hundreds of the country's polling stations did not operate on Sunday amid a surge in rebel violence. David Doyle has the details.
Amid increased rebel violence, more than 14% of polling stations in Central African Republic failed to operate during Sunday's presidential and legislative vote, the country's Electoral Commission has said. On Monday, the Commission reported around 800 out of 5,408 stations had not opened, as armed rebels attacked voters and blocked electoral staff. The mineral-rich nation has struggled to stabilise due to successive waves of violence since 2013 that have killed thousands and forced millions from their homes. After several candidates were barred from running in Sunday's election, including former President Francois Bozize, armed groups vowed to march on the capital and disrupt the vote. Security forces, more than 12,000 United Nations peacekeepers and reinforcements from Russia and Rwanda have managed to fend off attacks in the capital and some towns. But rebels were able to stop the vote in other parts of a sparsely populated country which is larger than France. President Faustin Archange Touadera is seeking a second term and is considered the favourite in a field of 17 candidates. Full provisional results are expected by the end of the week, and the election will go to a second round if no candidate gets more than 50% of the vote.
That was David Doyle of Reuters reporting. The ruling party's candidate has taken a large early lead in Niger's election. But is it enough to avoid a runoff? Africa 54 managing editor Vincent Makori has more.
The ruling party's candidate in Niger's presidential election has taken a strong early lead, though his vote share so far is short of the 50% needed to avoid a second round. Based on results published late on Monday by the West African Nations Electoral Commission, Mohamed Bazoum has received nearly 40% of the vote from 23 out of 266 voting districts. That puts him well ahead of his nearest challenger, former President Mohamed Osman, who has about 16%. Bazoum, a former interior minister, is considered the strong favourite to succeed President Mahamadou Issoufou, who is stepping down after 2 5-year terms. A smooth handover would mark the first transfer of power between two democratically elected presidents in a country that has experienced 4 coups since independence from France in 1960. As he voted on Sunday, Bazoum described the election as an incredible fit. The new president will face challenges of extreme poverty and rising violence from Islamist militants whose attacks have killed hundreds of civilians and soldiers in the last year alone, although few security incidents were reported on election day. Vincent Makori, VOA News.
Human rights experts from the United Nations are calling on Uganda to stop violence from security forces and a crackdown against peaceful protesters ahead of an election next month. Soraya Ali reports.
United Nations human rights experts have called on Uganda to rein in violent security forces ahead of an election next month. In that January 14th vote, pop star Bobi Wine has emerged as the strongest challenger to President Yoweri Museveni, who has ruled Uganda for more than 3 decades. But Wine, whose real name is Robert Chigulani, has complained that as support for his movement has grown, so too has violence from security forces.
This is what the police is doing.
On Sunday, Wine said one of his bodyguards was killed when military police ran him over, while Wine's convoy was taking a wounded journalist to seek medical help. Military police said the bodyguard had fallen from a speeding car. On Tuesday, a statement from UN experts said they were gravely concerned by election-related violence and a, quote, increasing crackdown on peaceful protesters, political and civil society leaders and human rights defenders. The statement also called for charges against political opponents and activists to be dropped. Both the president and government spokesman declined to take calls seeking comment.
Reuters Suraya Ali with that report. Nigerian security sources say landmines planted by Boko Haram jihadists have killed 11 security members, including 4 soldiers in northeast Nigeria. 7 hunters recruited to help the military fight the Islamist insurgents were killed on Tuesday when their vehicle hit a landmine in the village of Kayamla outside Borno State's capital, Maiduguri, according to the head of a local anti-jihadist militia. A second militiaman confirmed the incident. The 4 Nigerian soldiers were killed Monday when their vehicle hit a landmine planted by Boko Haram fighters in Logomani village near the border with Cameroon, also confirmed by 2 security sources. There has been a sharp increase in attacks in northeast Nigeria since the start of the month. Members of the ethnic Shona community in Kenya are celebrating their new status as Kenyan citizens after decades of being stateless. Brenda Mulinya takes a look at what the legal change means for the Shona in this report from Nairobi.
Nazizi Dube's most prized possession is a document declaring her a citizen of Kenya. Dube is one of almost 1,700 ethnic Shona and 1,300 ethnic Rwandans who gained legal status this month after decades of being stateless.
All the challenges that we went through with the statelessness status, we were very excited knowing that all has come to an end. It was a new beginning.
The legal status means the Shona can access government services, registrations and apply for financial support. Shona carpenter Ismail Lamini says his income suffered as he was not able to get financial services without a Kenyan ID. Their fight for legal recognition took a long time, but Lamini says it was worth it.
We will have the certificate of citizenship. It will enable me to go to a bank or any other lending institution and get a loan to enable me to do more business.
The Shona came to Kenya in the 1930s as missionaries from Zimbabwe. But when Kenya became independent from Britain in 1963, thousands missed the 2-year window to become citizens along with their children.
They were stateless. All their rights were violated. Their freedom of movement was violated. They couldn't leave the country. The few who finally managed to travel had to acquire fake or irregular identities to travel. They couldn't access education.
Kenya's Human Rights Commission and the UN's refugee UNHCR welcomed the government's granting citizenship to Shona who apply.
Legal identity is really important, and especially now that Kenya is going into the digital identity, because then they would have been left out of that system, because then they didn't have any document.
An estimated 1,300 Shona have yet to apply for citizenship, but those waiting for the certificate say they are ready to prove their worth.
We want to show that we are not just a burden to the country, but we are something else. We are birds with bright feathers. We are unworthy to be caged. That's what I will say. We now want to fly and showcase our bright feathers.
The UN's refugee agency says Kenya is home to about 18,000 stateless people, most of them ethnic minorities. Brenda Mulinya for VOA News, Nairobi.
In our tech news, technology is revolutionizing the way women do business in Africa. It allows young entrepreneurs to think outside of the box and create enterprises via the internet while changing lives. In Ghana, Lile Bosoye, an aspiring global ambassador, is on a mission to change the way young people in Ghana use technology. Africa 54's Paul Ndiho spoke to Bosoye, team lead, community engagement, and internships at Hacklab, Ghana.
Lily Bochwe, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you for getting me to connect today from Ghana, and I'm excited to be speaking to you.
So I've heard a lot of good things about you, that you are one of the rising stars in Ghana. Instead of sitting home and waiting for things to happen during this time of COVID, you decided to come up with some innovative stuff. Let's start there.
Right. So I'm tagging 2020, the year where we all lived on the internet. You know, we all thought the internet was so far-fetched until everything happened, and we all, even our parents even began knowing that the time we spent online and the meetings we're having online were very beneficial. My African mom wouldn't understand why I'm on my phone the whole day. When she asked me to drop it, I'll be like, I'm working. She doesn't understand why I'm working from my phone. But when everything with COVID happened, she got to understand that this is the time we live in, and we've come to a point where technology is now a natural extension of who we are. So during COVID, right, everybody is home, things are changing. In fact, personally, I had a flip day. I had to do more meetings in the night and sleep during the day for some reasons, because I was connecting with people from across the world. Then I was thinking to myself, on a normal day, I speak to friends on my phone using very different channels, and most of the things I talked to my friends about were things I wanted other people to hear, and this is why. So we talk about things ranging from tech, what's new on the market, what is happening, the challenges on TikTok, to how people are having fun, to the extent that I even joined meetings with global shippers because I'm a global shipper in Accra Hub. So I thought to myself, how about I start a podcast? And I call the podcast Pointers in 10. That lasts for only 10 minutes. And we talk about tech, we talk about career, we talk about personal branding, we talk about also business branding.
That's remarkable on your part to be able to do all that stuff. Just curious, would you have done this if you didn't have access to the internet?
In our part of the world, you want to look at the things that are a hurdle for connectivity. You want to look at affordability, you want to look at accessibility, you want to look at the devices available, and at the top of that chart is actually digital literacy. Not just digital skills. Everybody can create an account on Facebook and like pictures and share pictures. But we're talking about literacy, where people understand what they're doing on the platforms and how they can leverage it for something greater. So you're online, you have a Facebook account, you're able to connect with friends, but how do you know how to protect yourself while posting online, and how to connect with people who are actually very essential to your journey and use that to also create impact?
Speaking about women, how can women take advantage of what we have right now, this kind of technology that we are interacting with?
We see that technology is important for everyone, but we keep on, based on statistics, getting the difference in connectivity for women, the difference in connectivity for even women working in the sciences and technology and all those. But now the advocacy is how we can groom male allies. So people who are already males and understand the space and understand the technicality, able to help young women also find their feet in the spaces. Now we want, as much as we can, right, to take the information, the education to the doorstep. So we want to have everybody on the ground supporting the cause. And if young people who are in rural areas cannot connect like those in the cities, how about you take the service to them? And that's where I see that the building or the creation of communities and open spaces will be important for young people and young girls in these villages. So right now we have a few of these communities coming up. We have the Hacklab Foundation, the work we do. We have Pi Ladies, who teaches girls how to code in Python. We have Regina Honu's Academy, who moved from even coding to user-centered design to even coding for the deaf and dumb. You know, that's a holistic approach. Now, if young people know about this initiative, they're able to connect. They make it as simple as possible for them to enter. So it's time to go down to the grassroots, take the work there. It could be a moving van with an open lab where you can stay in a place for 1 week, move on to another place. But as much as you can, you have to move the education, not just centered in the cities, but to the doorsteps.
Very good. On that note, thank you so much for your time, Lee.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm happy to talk to you, Paul.
That was Africa 54's tech correspondent Paul Diho speaking to Lile Bosoye, team lead community engagement and internships at Hacklab, Ghana. As the coronavirus rages on, companies, houses of worship, and homeless shelters are turning to space management apps to create safer indoor spaces in compliance with COVID-19 guidelines. VOA's Julie Tabo reports.
It's a problem facing many businesses, churches, and other indoor venues. With COVID-19 dragging out, how to bring people together in a safe and welcoming environment. Developers of a space management application called Maptician have redesigned their product with that challenge in mind.
We originally built it to be a space analytics platform for CFOs, for managers, people who needed to know who was in a space, how much space were they taking, who was coming and who was going, and how much it was costing people.
And then came the coronavirus.
When the pandemic started, we really took a look around and said, here's our opportunity to do something a little bit more impactful. The tools we had built for the original purpose transferred very, very well to this new environment.
Those space management tools include 3 key features everyone was looking for.
One of them is scheduling. So we are set a capacity of our office of a maximum of 25. So using the scheduling portion of the app, we're able to reach that. Physical distancing. We want to make sure that there's at least 6 feet apart from every employee when they're in their workstation or in a conference room. And then contact tracing.
Maptician was able to provide us a system to allow our employees to come back to the office if they wanted to work, where we could manage the seats they were sitting in, but they also have COVID safety features like contact tracing and spacing, which is really what we were looking for.
For Nick Urick, turning his software program into something that can help in the crisis is a fulfilling accomplishment.
For all the tragedy of the year, it's been an amazing thing to be part of the solution out there.
Julie Tabo, VOA News.
We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered during the discussion on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our broadcast live on Facebook. Please watch and share our show with your friends. Also check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Still to come, transportation of the first coronavirus vaccine leads to a huge demand for dry ice. Stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Straight Talk Africa, live from the Voice of America headquarters here in Washington. I am Shaka Sali. Straight Talk Africa, we call it like it is. We discuss issues that reflect the interests of our audience without fear or favor. We are guided by facts, and I look at myself as a servant of nothing but the truth.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Because the first coronavirus vaccine approved for use in the US needs to be transported in ultra-cold conditions using dry ice, that created some unique challenges, as Licia Bacalets reports in this story narrated by Anna Rice. Transporting the Pfizer vaccine has led to a huge demand for dry ice.
Dry ice is the solid form of carbon dioxide, and it can be as cold as -78 degrees Celsius.
This is a pellet. This is what they're going to use. It is white, as you see. It is smoking. You can see that smoke come off of there. So that's dry.
Harry Game is the owner of Game & Sons, an Ohio company that has been producing dry ice for decades. He says demand for his product has risen 10 to 15% in recent weeks. That's because dry ice must be used to keep the Pfizer COVID vaccine in extremely cold temperatures during transportation at -70 degrees Celsius. Pfizer transports its new vaccine in specially designed boxes. Each box needs a new supply of dry ice every 5 days.
One challenge is that the box cannot be opened very frequently. If you open the box, that dry ice would sublimate more quickly, right? Because the temperature gets warmer.
The other problem is high levels of carbon dioxide can be deadly, especially on board airplanes.
Planes are equipped to handle a certain amount of air exchange in the aircraft as it's flying. But you don't want to have so much on the aircraft that it would overpower that ability to replenish the oxygen levels in the aircraft.
Despite the rise in demand for dry ice, experts say there's plenty to go around.
So when we looked at the system, we're pretty confident that we can meet that capacity.
The only alternative to dry ice is special refrigerators with ultra-cold settings. Some hospitals and research centers in large cities have those. And companies that make these refrigerators say they're seeing a rise in demand as well.
We literally have added probably about 50% more people into our organization. And we went out and bought $2-3 million worth of materials so that we can actually get out in front of it. Now, the demand has clearly outstripped even what we thought was going to be our solution.
Other coronavirus vaccines are much less problematic. The Moderna vaccine can be transported in -20 degrees Celsius temperatures, which will make it much easier to transport to more remote areas. For Lisa Bakalets in Washington, Anna Rice, VOA News.
A runoff election in the southern U.S. state of Georgia has profound implications for Democrat Joe Biden, who will be sworn in as U.S. president on January 20th. At stake, 2 Senate seats that will decide the balance of power in the U.S. Congress. Mike O'Sullivan explains.
Early voting is underway in the Georgia runoff elections. 2 Senate seats are at stake after none of the candidates emerged with a majority in the November election. The runoff is January 5th. Outgoing President Donald Trump has campaigned on behalf of the Republican candidates.
The voters of Georgia will determine which party runs every committee, writes every piece of legislation, controls every single taxpayer dollar.
The 2 races are competitive. Incumbent Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler is essentially tied in her race against Democratic candidate Raphael Warnock. The contest between Democratic candidate Jon Ossoff and incumbent Republican Senator David Perdue is also tight, according to polls. While Democrats continue to hold a slim majority in the House of Representatives, Republicans control the Senate. The results on January 5th could end that control in the next session.
If the Democrats can pull off 2 victories, there will be 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats, a tie.
And Democrat Kamala Harris, who will be sworn in as U.S. Vice President, will preside over the Senate and can break any ties to move legislation forward. President-elect Joe Biden's victory in Georgia in November reversed the southern state's past pattern of voting Republican for president.
That was a gigantic victory for Democrats. And to have forced the 2 runoffs, even though it's a long shot for Democrats to win both seats, it's a sign that Georgia's moving the way other parts of the South may be heading, toward a new coalition.
A coalition of African Americans, whites, Asians, and Hispanics in the cities and suburbs. But the contest will be decided by who gets out the vote.
And the Democrats are moving strongly with regard to shoe leather campaigning, knocking on doors, even in a pandemic.
Republicans are leading in fundraising, and the final battle of a turbulent election hangs in the balance. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News.
Every year, residents of the Dyker Heights neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, try to outdo each other with over-the-top holiday lights. This year, VOA's Aaron Federer went there and talked to residents and visitors.
I've been coming to Niger Heights. Well, this is my first time actually, so he's actually taking me on a tour of Niger Heights.
Yes, and I've been here several years. My parents grew up in Brooklyn, so you know everybody knows about it from the surrounding area.
Brian was just telling me about a house that you can see from space, so we're on the hunt to find that house that you can see from space.
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate, wink, wink. No, it's hot chocolate.
It's really nice, and I think the lights are very beautiful. It's just really nice how everybody decorates and lets everybody come by their properties and watch the lights.
Since I'm a little kid, so I'm 46, so it's been a long time. So Lucy Spada, this is her house. Supposedly she started this, doing it in an extraordinary way. And I guess that tradition sort of caught on in the rest of the block and the surrounding houses. And then it just started, I guess, expanding to the whole neighborhood. So it's become a destination now.
We see busloads of people.
Yeah.
They have those big buses coming, and there's loads of people on the buses. It's pretty wild to see because, like he said, we've been coming here for so long since we're little, and then to see these giant buses pull up with tourists to come, and now it's a tourist attraction. It's wild.
What I heard, a lot of people restrained themselves from decorating this year because they didn't want crowds of people outside and stuff like that. They were afraid.
Well, I've been decorating my house for about 25 years, since my son was about 9 years old. We start right around Halloween. We put up some orange lights for Halloween, and the day after Halloween they come down and the colored lights begin to go up. Well, my house, of course, is my favorite. This year I'm looking forward to a vaccine that helps put this world back in order.
In 2021, I want COVID to be gone so we can go back to our normal lives.
Here's to a better 2021. Happy New Year! 2021, be better. Better days ahead.
Happy 2021, everyone. We wish you a Happy New Year and hopefully a healthy year.
To my family in Pakistan and Uzbekistan, we wish you a very Happy New Year and a great year to come.
Happy New Year
Happy New
to
Year's.
everyone, and we hope and trust that 2021 will bring us nothing but peace, love, and joy.
Happy New Year!
And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thank you for watching.